let's jump right into this explainer, where we're going to discover how the ancient art of Natya, what you and I commonly know as dance, is so much more than just a beautiful performance. Based on the really fascinating textbook excerpt we're digging into today, we'll see how Natya is historically framed as this entirely holistic path. It's essentially an intricate roadmap designed to lead practitioners to both spiritual salvation and, amazingly, optimal physical health. So if you've ever thought of dance as just, visual entertainment, get ready to have your perspective completely shifted.
Right off the bat, the source text does something incredibly poetic. It explicitly calls dancing a mirror. And honestly, think about that for a second. It's a living, breathing translation of music. Sound itself is completely invisible, right? It just floats through the air. But the dancer's body reflects it back to us as a physical reality. It literally visualizes the auditory. It is the absolute purest translation of rhythm and melody into human motion. Now, you have to remember, early practitioners didn't view dance as just some fun weekend hobby. To them, it was the absolute most pleasing art to the gods. The text describes Natya as a literal treasure house. Think of it as a comprehensive vessel that safely guards all this mythological and historical heritage, while at the exact same time demanding immense physical, intellectual, and spiritual discipline from the dancer. It's the whole shebang. Because of that immense reverence, these early artists dedicated their entire lives to the craft. They weren't just dancing for a crowd. They were utilizing it as a direct, sacred pathway to spiritual liberation. In fact, the text explicitly notes that dancing was considered the very best path to attain moksha, or ultimate salvation. It was the key mechanism for connecting the individual soul with the ultimate. So historically speaking, the stakes really could not have been higher.
But because this path isn't just spiritual, it is intensely intellectual. Enter the concept of abhinaya that our source highlights. Through abhinaya, the dancer actively translates the complex language of a poet into physical movement. The text beautifully compares this to how a musician gives music to a poem. The dancer is taking the written word, lifting it off the page, and giving it a dynamic, living body.
And this passionate translation creates a thing of profound beauty. The text tells us that the dancer interprets the hidden meaning, the theme, the background, which ultimately leads to the birth of a visual poem. It's this incredibly multidimensional experience that's appreciated by everyone who witnesses it, mostly because it bridges the gap between static literature and flowing physical expression, just so seamlessly. And I love this little detail in the source text. There are handwritten notes actually scribbled in the margins by a student. Next to the word eulogized, they wrote praise highly, and right above that, the word example. It's just a fantastic reminder that this material isn't dead history. It shows a real active human engagement. The celebration of dance as an epitome of the arts is something that is still being actively studied, felt, and internalized by learners today. Of course, beyond the divine and the deeply intellectual, dance also grounds itself in everyday human joy. Our source emphasizes that it's a universally loved source of amusement for our most earthly milestones. We're talking marriage celebrations, childbirth ceremonies, big general festivals, and even marking the attainment of prosperity. Natya really is the universal language of human celebration. Okay, now this is where the text takes a really fascinating pivot. We've talked about the sacred, the cultural, the intellectual, but suddenly the source shifts gears. It moves completely out of the spiritual realm and zooms directly into the physical body. It introduces this highly clinical, almost medical perspective on the role of dance that you really might not expect. So how exactly does this translate into physical exercise? Well, the text points out that performing Bharatanatyam literally puts the entire body system into action step by step. It's not just a basic cardio workout. It involves the intricate, simultaneous coordination of the feet, the hands, the face, and the eyes. Every single part of the performer is fully engaged, meaning the impact on total health is manifold. The whole body reaps the benefit. The contrast presented here is just absolutely wild to me. Think about the dual nature of Natya. On one hand, you have these grand ethereal pursuits, attaining moksha, finding eternal bliss, enhancing the spiritual atmosphere. And then, literally in the same breath, you have the highly clinical reality of treating modern physical ailments like asthma and diabetes. It perfectly bridges that massive gap between soul and cellular health. Actually, the text goes so far as to explicitly categorize dancing as an ideal medicine for the human body. It doesn't just say it keeps you fit, it lists specific chronic conditions: controlling asthma, managing diabetes, relieving rheumatism, and maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. That is a massively powerful claim. It reframes an ancient cultural practice as a legitimate preventative and therapeutic medical tool.
But you don't get these benefits from just a casual stroll. If you look at the student's marginalia again next to the word fervor, they boldly annotated intense, physical, and passionate feeling. So, to become that ideal medicine, this physical and spiritual entertainment demands deep, intense, passionate execution. It requires real sweat and dedication. Building on that intensity, the text makes what I think is its boldest claim yet. It states that this integration of the physical and spiritual has got the magical powers of warding off many severe illness, chronic ailments, without severe medical treatment. By enhancing the spiritual atmosphere while simultaneously putting the body through rigorous work, Natya acts as a profound, holistic shield against physical deterioration. So, what is the ultimate end goal of all this rigorous practice? According to our source, the continued performance of Bharatanatyam brings a total mental happiness. It preserves physical beauty, improves overall performance, and leads the artist to an unparalleled state of total mental and physical alertness. It's essentially the absolute perfect synchronization of a razor-sharp mind and a fully vitalized body. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to chew on. We spend billions of dollars today searching for holistic wellness, and we almost always treat the mind and the body as totally separate things. But what if the answers we're so desperately seeking for modern health and spiritual fulfillment already exist, totally integrated within the sacred, passionate rhythms of the past? Thanks for diving into this fascinating text with me. Keep questioning and keep learning.